In this week of the weekly Yager Bombers news, we found out how the team did for these past 2 games this past weekend with the team chemistry and who might be kicked off the team. So let's get right into the news! In this weekend's games, the Yager Bombers had a new change to the team, starting off with the pitcher. The new pitcher, Zach Anderson, who was brought up from the minors, became the starter pitcher in both games. Zach had the most action we have seen from a pitcher, with many balls being hit to him in both games, and with one of the balls even rolling all over him like it was a squirrel on the run. From what we hear from the Yager Bombers, they are happy to have him on the team. The first game for the Yager Bombers had a tough start in the first inning with Kersey Flush hitting those gaps and the Yager Bombers making some fatal errors. After a tough inning for the Yager Bombers, they brought it back and had those bats flying, and the atmosphere for the team was on the rise. The first game ended with Kersey Flush winning by 1 run, and the ump seemed like a handicapped bat, blind and didn't move. The ump had seemed to never umped before and was confused at some points during the game, calling shocking outs only for the loss of the Yager Bombers. This umpire style came with the second game in some cases as well, but wasn't as bad as the first game's ump. The second game, the energy was high for the Yager Bombers, which could be from Nathan being high himself or Ethan being drunk, but I think it was from how much fun the first game was for the Yager Bombers. The bats were hitting good for this game for the Yager Bombers, and the plays were on fire as well too. Connor was struggling this weekend with 4 strikeouts between 2 games, but the one time the Yager Bombers needed him to hit, he hit it right in the gap, making some runs for the Yager Bombers, which really helped out the team. The team was really having fun this weekend as they won the second game, with Ethan catching the foul ball to end the game, which everyone was shocked to have him keep in his glove. Here's what Ethan does have to say about this weekend's games and about the team.
All right. What do you think of today's game? How'd you play?
I don't know. I mean, I'm still at the bottom of the lineup, but I played pretty good today. Hopefully, coach can make some changes. Maybe one spot up would be better.
Okay.
But yeah, I made the last catch of the game, so
Hey,
that was not bad.
Right now? If you know the number, what are you betting?
I don't know what I'm batting, but I know I'm after Nolan, so I want to be ahead of him by the end of the season.
Interesting. How do you think next week's game's gonna go?
I think next game's is gonna go great. Next week's game. Sorry, I stuttered a lot. I think there's some talk to be said about Eric on the team. Yeah, I don't know. That's pretty self-explanatory.
Des, what do you think of Eric possibly leaving the team?
Man, fuck Eric. All he does is yap. His ass thinks he's a goddamn manager. He's no manager. He's not better than any one of us. He's talking like he's second in the command, and it started to piss me off. Honestly, I got a lot to say about Eric, too.
On this interview with Ethan and Desmond, we don't know for sure, but we can only assume Eric is hanging on for dear life to stay on the team. Rumors said after the Yager Bombers had 2 good and fun games that he left the team group chat, but we haven't heard anything from coach specifically, so we can only assume that these are rumors and allegations going around. I believe this weekend had the best energy we have seen from the team all season long, and if they can keep the games as fun as they had for these 2 games, the Yager Bombers are going to bounce back like no one's ass when he walks. Some errors have to be fixed with the team, but for the most part, the weekend was a win. Even though the Yager Bombers went 1-1, they had everybody show up on time, and the bats were hitting, which was needed for the team. There are rumors on a new recruit for this next weekend's game, which will be needed as the Yager Bombers face the top 2 teams in the league, so this weekend will be intense. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget Coach's famous words, hide you a bit or bring you a bit. I'll see you next week.